"Anyone can buy a plane ticket," the young attendant said firmly to the black woman in the tailored crimson blazer, not realizing she was speaking to the CEO of a corporation worth billions. She held up the boarding pass like it was questionable, as if success itself needed further proof. Dr. Maya Richardson stood calm, her leather briefcase containing contracts worth over $1.1 billion, her dignity unshaken despite the stares. Within an hour, one call from her phone would silence every engine across the airline's fleet. "Hi, my beautiful family. Welcome back to another inspiring story. If you're enjoying these journeys, don't forget to like, comment where you're watching from, and subscribe for more." The city lights of San Francisco shimmered against the bay as Dr. Maya Richardson stood in her corner office, the glass walls reflecting her silhouette in the fading light. At 41, she had built a reputation as one of the most influential black CEOs in America, a woman whose company's technology powered half the airlines in the Western Hemisphere. With contracts across 14 countries and a workforce of 56,000 employees, Maya knew what it meant to carry both privilege and responsibility. Tonight, however, she only wanted to get home after closing a $1.1 billion deal. Her assistant had booked her seat in first class, seat 1A, knowing it was Maya's quiet ritual after long negotiations. Meanwhile, at San Francisco International Airport, Emma Carson tightened her regulation navy blue jacket and tucked a stray strand of blonde hair into her bun. At 27, she had been with Pacific Horizon Airlines for 5 years, desperate for promotion to senior attendant. This flight, a red-eye to New York carrying executives bound for the Global Tech Summit, felt like her opportunity to impress supervisors. She had been raised in Sacramento, her father a high school coach, her mother a nurse. Emma believed in hard work, in following rules, in proving herself through diligence. But beneath her ambition was an unease she didn't recognize, an instinct shaped by biases she never questioned. The terminal pulsed with Sunday night energy. Families gathered luggage, business travelers typed furiously on laptops, and the smell of roasted coffee drifted from kiosks. At gate B12, Emma studied her passenger manifest, pausing on a name, M. Richardson, seat 1A. She imagined a graying white man in a tailored suit, perhaps a banker or tech mogul. The assumption seemed natural, almost automatic. She had no idea that the name belonged to a black woman who had spent 2 decades breaking barriers. At 8:45 p.m., Maya's black Tesla glided into the executive parking deck. She stepped out with measured grace, her crimson blazer sharp against the concrete, her briefcase in hand. People turned to watch her stride, some in admiration, others in quiet curiosity. She moved with the confidence of someone who had learned to claim every room she entered, though she still carried the memory of every door once slammed in her face. When she approached the gate, boarding pass ready, Emma glanced up and froze. The elegant woman before her did not fit the image she had built for seat 1A. Maya smiled warmly, extending the pass. "Dr. Maya Richardson, first class, seat 1A." Emma's hand hesitated. She glanced at the screen, then back at Maya, then at the boarding pass again. Her voice faltered. "I'm sorry, ma'am, there seems to be a mistake. Seat 1A is our premium business traveler seat." Maya tilted her head, her voice calm but steady. "Yes, and it's mine." The words drew the attention of nearby passengers. A businessman in line glanced up. A mother shifted her child's weight while watching closely. Emma's tone hardened, trying to regain authority. "We usually require additional verification for this seat. Corporate members often provide documentation." The air thickened. Maya's chest tightened, not from surprise, but from the exhausting familiarity of the moment. She had faced it in boardrooms when investors asked if she was the assistant. She had felt it in hotels where staff assumed she couldn't afford the penthouse. And now, once again, in an airport where her right to exist in first class was being questioned. "I've flown this airline 19 times in the past year," Maya said evenly. "My assistant booked this ticket 3 weeks ago. Please check again." Emma tapped the keyboard, her skepticism plain. Passengers began filming discreetly, phones tilted just enough to capture the exchange. A man cleared his throat behind Maya. "Is there a problem here? Some of us have connections to make." Maya reached calmly into her purse, producing her ID with deliberate precision. "Dr. Maya Richardson, my license matches my boarding pass. What else do you require?" Emma's supervisor, Laura, arrived, her eyes already scanning Maya's attire, her briefcase, her posture. "What seems to be the issue?" "This passenger claims 1A, Emma explained quickly, "but something doesn't feel right about the booking." Laura looked directly at Maya. "Do you have corporate proof of your position or a company card?" The words hit like a blow. Maya inhaled slowly. She had endured decades of microaggressions, but rarely so publicly. She placed her business card on the counter. "Maya Richardson, Chief Executive Officer, Aerotech Systems." Laura studied the card, lips tightening. "Anyone can print business cards." The sentence cut deeper than intended. Maya set down her briefcase and withdrew documents, her corporate Amex, a front-page feature in the Wall Street Journal showing her photo under the headline, "CEO Closes Billion-Dollar Aviation Deal." The evidence spread across the counter like a courtroom exhibit. Silence stretched. Passengers leaned in, whispering, recording. Maya's voice sliced through the tension. "Now tell me, in front of all these witnesses, why I'm being asked to prove myself while others are allowed to board without question." A woman in a Chanel jacket raised her hand. "I've flown first class for 20 years. I've never been asked for documentation." A man in an expensive suit added, "Same here. This is discrimination." Emma's face drained of color. She had started the evening hopping to impress. Instead, she had created a spectacle threatening her career. Maya gathered her documents slowly, her movements deliberate. "I'll board my seat now, and when I land in New York, I'll make phone calls, important ones." Fear rippled through Emma and Laura. A CEO with Maya's influence could trigger investigations, lawsuits, even ground flights. But Maya said nothing more, walking down the jet bridge with measured steps, her heels echoing. In first class, she stowed her briefcase, opened her laptop, and tried to bury the sting beneath contracts and numbers. Moments later, Emma appeared with water and towels, her hands trembling. "Good evening, Dr. Richardson. Can I offer you a drink?" "Water will be fine." Maya didn't look up. The chill in her tone drew glances from nearby passengers. As boarding finished, Captain Rivera's voice came over the intercom. "Ladies and gentlemen, we have a short delay due to air traffic congestion. Please remain seated." 45 more minutes. Maya shut her laptop with a sharp click. Emma busied herself with service, but her eyes kept flicking to seat 1A. The other passengers sensed tension. The teenager from the gate live-streamed from row 14, calling it airline drama at its peak. At 35,000 feet, the hum of the engines filled the cabin. Emma finally approached. Her voice barely rose above the hum. "Dr. Richardson, may I ask you something? How did you build your company?" The question surprised Maya. She glanced up, expecting excuses. Instead, she saw genuine curiosity. Slowly, she spoke. "I started with $5,000 my grandmother left me. I rented a small office above a laundromat. I worked 16-hour days teaching myself coding and aviation systems." Emma leaned closer, her ambitions softening into humility. "That's incredible." "It was survival," Maya replied. "For every step I took, someone tried to push me back. Investors asked if I could fetch coffee. Reporters assumed I was an assistant. Even after Forbes named me top 40 under 40, people questioned whether I was really the CEO." Emma's chest tightened. She saw the echo of her own actions in every word. "I grew up believing hard work was enough," she admitted quietly. "That if I treated people fairly, I'd succeed. I never thought about how some people start from a different place." Maya studied her face. "The question is what you'll do with that realization." Hours later, turbulence rocked the cabin. Emma stumbled, nearly falling into Maya's row. Without hesitation, Maya steadied her. Emma slid into seat 1B, white-knuckled. "I hate turbulence," she confessed, her voice trembling. "My mother once told me turbulence was just the sky teaching us patience," Maya said softly. "Fear doesn't make you weak. Facing it makes you brave." The words steadied Emma, and for the first time that night, she felt less like an attendant and more like a student. When they landed, Maya turned on her phone. Notifications exploded, millions of views, hashtags trending, airline discrimination, Maya Richardson. The video had gone viral. Emma's face filled the clips, her voice questioning Maya's right to seat 1A. Emma's career unraveled before her eyes. She stood in the echo of the empty cabin as passengers whispered about firings and lawsuits. By midnight, corporate had called. She was suspended pending investigation. Maya checked into her New York hotel, her team already demanding a decision: sue, shame, or speak. The choice weighed heavily. Her grandmother's voice echoed, "Dignity cannot be bought, but power can be used wisely." At dawn, Maya stood before cameras. "Yes, I faced discrimination," she said, "but what matters is what followed: accountability, education, growth." Emma Carson made assumptions. She also listened. She admitted fault. That's the beginning of change. Reporters scribbled furiously. The story shifted from humiliation to redemption. Emma, watching from her small hotel room, wept as Maya continued. "Cancel culture destroys. Accountability culture rebuilds. We need fewer careers ended, more lessons learned." The airline promised reforms. Maya's company's stock, rattled at first, rebounded within days. 6 months later, Emma completed a diversity program and joined Maya's company, designing training modules for others. They never became close friends, but their story became a blueprint for how grace and accountability could coexist. Own mistakes carry weight, but growth can carry more. What would you choose, revenge or redemption? Share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and pass this story on to someone who believes in second chances. The journey of change begins here.